Okay, so here are some more questions for you guys to think about. The first one, do you think these four pens, these four blocks, have the same size? No, of course not, right? The four segments have different sizes, and this size will change across time. So as the relationship develops, this public area will get larger and larger. And whenever you get involved into a dyadic relationship or dyadic interaction, you usually have and develop a unique John-Harry window for this particular person you are interacting with. So each of us has many John-Harry windows with totally different people such as your families, your friends, your partner, etc. Say we have 10 people in this classroom, so which means I have 10 unique John-Harry windows with all of you. And these John-Harry windows, these 10 John-Harry windows I have with you guys may look identical or same currently, but they will experience very different change until the end of this term. So by the end of the term, this John-Harry window I have with each of you would look totally different from now and with each other at the end of this term. So my point is, depending on different relationships, you will have totally different John-Harry windows with each of these relationships. And as you develop or maintain this relationship, this John-Harry window with this particular person is constantly changing. Okay, so that is pretty much about this John-Harry window, and this window was proposed by the scholar Luft in 1970s. So here I want to kind of make a little bit clarification about the exam. So for the exam, you do not need to memorize or know any author or the year of a theory. So I would test your knowledge, your conceptual understanding about a theory or concept. So no author's name or the year of a theory needs to be remembered. So after we kind of have a clear understanding about this John-Harry window, I would like you guys to do our first journal entry. So this will be our journal 1. So I would like you guys to pick one relationship you care about, right? So such as your family members, your partner, one of your close friends, right? Someone you care about. Do not just pick someone you don't care, a random guy on the street, say store cashier, or your barber guy, whatever. Okay, so pick someone you care about. Draw your John-Harry window given this relationship. So this window should have the information about you. So draw such a John-Harry window and put items in these 4 blocks. And answer these 2 questions. Are you satisfied with this John-Harry window given this relationship or not? If you are not satisfied, are there any blocks you would like to change in its size, whether you want to enlarge it or you want to shrink it? Okay, so you can pause my lecture here and take probably 5-10 minutes to do this journal entry and keep it. I'm gonna ask you guys to keep all your journal entries on your side and then submit them in one single file at the end of our term. Okay, welcome back. So next I want to talk about the definition of communication. So before I give you guys a definition of communication, I'm going to ask you guys to pause here and think about some key or essential elements to define something as communication. So what kind of essential things you got to have there to call it communication? So I know there are a lot of definitions for communication, and they're different in some aspects, but these key elements got to be there in a definition of communication. So here I'm gonna show you guys one definition of communication. So communication is defined as a process through which people use messages to generate meanings within and across contexts, channels, and media. So I'm gonna stress several key terms or several key elements in this definition, and that defines what is communication. So first one is process. So please be aware that communication is a dynamic and constantly changing phenomenon. So it's not a one-time thing, it's a ongoing and continuous process. It's dynamic. Second element is these messages, right? Messages are the key and very essential element in definition of communication. So these messages refer to the symbols we deliver to get our points crossed, right? To deliver our intention, our meaning. It could be verbal, it could be non-verbal, and we're gonna spend this whole term talking, discussing, pondering about how we use messages to get our meaning, to get our points crossed. And to generate meanings within and across contexts. So context is another key element I want to stress. So this is the environment where we communicate. It could be the physical place where this conversation is taking place, such as when you check out something you want to buy at the cashier. So this context is this supermarket or this store, this physical environment. And this context could also refer to the cultural environment. For example, our class is taking place in Vienna, such an European country. So its context, its cultural context is a Western culture. So we are supposed to behave in a Western, in a European way, such as speaking English, behave like, obey this kind of Western norms. And the next I want to talk about is channel and media. These two terms can be easily get confused. So I'll talk them together and show you guys the difference. So the channels refer to through what mode or in what way we are transmitting our messages. It could through audio, visual, or even smell, or even some physical touch. We're gonna talk about it later when we get to the nonverbal communication topic. So channels refer to through which mode, through which way you are communicating with another person. Whereas media refer to the specific device, specific way you are communicating. Through what device you are using what tools to communicate. So let's say, for example, you are watching this lecture using your laptop. So the channels would include first audio, my voice, plus some visuals, such as this PowerPoint. But when it comes to the media, you are using computer or your laptop or even your cell phone. They are the media to receive for you to receive this lecture, whereas a channel only refers to this visual plus audio. Okay, so these are the two key terms here and the differences between them. And you can make a note here. There will be one question in the exam asking for the difference between the channels and media. Okay, so after we define what is communication, let's do an activity altogether here. So let's kind of think about, let's jump ahead, think about like when we are done with this term, right? So at the end of this May, we are done with this term, and you are thinking to throw a party to celebrate you're done with this term. So you want to invite your friends to come over and have this party with you. So you are gonna call or you text your friend. Would you say this scenario, you are calling your friends to come over and have the party with you? Would you say this scenario as a communication or not? Well, definitely yes, right? Because you are using phones to send your message. And let's say if you want to kind of go digital and post an invitation on your Facebook, or you tag your friends on your Instagram for this party, would you say this is communication or not? Of course, still yes, right? Because you are using Facebook, Instagram to deliver your message. But let's think about the channels and the media. So when you use your phone to call your friends or text your friends, what is the media? And then what are the channels? Apparently, the media is your cell phone. You have the same media to call or to text your friend. But channels will be different. So if you are calling your friends, you are using the channel as audio. You are just using your voice to get your message crossed. But if you text your friend, even though you are using the same media, but the channel would be different. You are using visuals to communicate. So we can say that the media could be same, but we may use different channels to communicate. And when it comes to this digital way, let's say you are using your laptop to post an invitation on your Facebook. The media is your laptop, and the channel would be the visual. But if you tag your friends on your cell phone in your Facebook account, the media will change to cell phone, but you still use the visual to communicate the same channel. Okay? And then you invited some of your friends to come over and you want to cook something good for them. And then you want to get some recipe from the cooking book. For this situation, would you say this is communication or not? The answer is yes. Even though it is not a synchronous communication, but you are still communicating with the author of the book. There is some message involved. And then you cook the food. Would you say it is communication or not? Probably not, right? Because there is no message being delivered to another person. And finally, your friends call and you hear someone is ringing the doorbell. Communication or not? Yes, because there is some symbol being communicated. Before you open the door, you want to check yourself into the mirror to see whether you look good or not. Yes or no? Well, this is a tricky part. It is actually an intrapersonal communication because you're talking to yourself, not another person. And turn out you guys had a really good time. You chat, you catch up. Communication or not? Of course, yes, because there are some messages being communicated. And your pets also have a good time. Would you say this is communication or not? Well, say something yes, something no. I would say this is still communication, even though we are not quite understanding what messages they are delivering to each other, but there is definitely some meaning being delivered. So I would say this is communication. Yes. So we have talked about the definition of communication, and I give you guys some practice. Hopefully, you guys have a better understanding about the definition of communication and what are channels, what are media. So in next video, we're going to talk about some models of communication.